mayor of Davao City in 2007. You said in your speech directed at civil servants that you abhor stupidity and mediocre work. Since when did you develop this drive for excellence?
Oo, that was when I was elected as vice mayor because we all know and we all see what we don't want to see in government. Ang lagi na complaint ng mga tao is number one, tamad ang mga nasa gobyerno, hindi sila efficient, hindi sila effective. So of course, even ako as a citizen, yan din ang ayaw ko na makita sa government. So of course, we should campaign always to government employees and other public officials to be efficient and effective public servants.
Actually, when I talk before with people from Davao City, they say na you're very strict pagdating sa government work, na parang meron, ewan ko, can you confirm this? Parang kahit yung mga TV pinaalis nyo sa mga offices, parang you just wanted people to focus on work? Is
Yes, oo. Ganun kasi dapat, not even in government, even in private offices and establishments, you see it, no, the drive to provide excellent service. Yun kasi dapat ang goal ng public officials and government employees. Hindi yung parang yung tao pa yung mag-adjust sa kanila. Dapat yung government yung mag-adjust sa kung ano yung hinahanap ng mga tao sa kanila.
Thank you. Mayor Sara, you appear to be very soft-spoken, yet we all know that you are also very fierce. Do you see yourself as someone who speaks softly but carries a big stick?
Actually, yung totoo talaga, I'm quite shy and reserved.
Oh, okay.
Of course, my friends would say that, oh, no, she's not shy. But I talk when I am with friends, but with acquaintances and strangers, I'm usually nagka-clam up ako. So, yan yung isa sa mga challenges ko. And then, another thing is, meron akong stage fright.
Really?
Yes.
Tama.
Severe. Oo nga, no? Hindi niyo napapansin. No, I have severe stage fright na tulad nito. I don't usually do interviews, but I did this for you because I wanted to thank you for all your help to our President Duterte, no? Kasi, yun nga, grabe yung stage fright ko, and it takes a big effort for me to speak, to talk, to go on stage, to talk to people. So, malaki na effort yon sa akin. Through the years, natutunan ko na rin siya medyo i-refine. But I'm sure yung mga people who see through yung persona ko on stage would see na medyo anxious ako, pinapawisan lagi, ganon, because of the stage fright.
Pero hindi, this is quite a revelation kasi we have always seen you as very fierce, very confident, and you know, I was about, actually I invited you for our last session about being alpha personality, and then pero how do you manage this? Kasi you're always like in the face of the public. So how do you balance yung, I think this is gonna be helpful for a lot of people who has anxiety problem facing the public. How do you handle this anxiety, Mayor Sara?
I just suck it all up and then put a face and then go out there. I have to share this with you, an experience of mine. So I was a neophyte. Hindi na rin ako neophyte nun because I was already running for mayor, and in one of the campaign rallies, sa sobrang hindi ko naayos yung sa loob ko, I was talking incoherently. I was not making sense. And nalilimutan ko kung ano yung mga points and na dapat ko sabihin. Na after the campaign, after the rally, my President Duterte really talked to me. Sabi niya sa akin, are you drunk? Sabi ko, no. What is wrong with you? Sabi ko, hindi ko so, of course, my father has a very strong personality and I'm sure wala siyang stage fright. So hindi ko masabi sa kanya noon. And then he said, he told me na, look at this person, look at this candidate, look at this person. Kita mo ba siya? Mas magaling pa siya sa'yo eh. Kaya, so, yun.
Ano ka lang talaga?
I'm soft-spoken because I'm very reserved na tao and malaki yung stage fright ko talaga. So that when I go out, it is really an effort sa akin na magsalita, makipag-converse, to carry a conversation, especially with acquaintances and strangers. With friends, wala naman problema eh, kasi kaibigan eh.
So do you consider yourself as an introvert rather than an extrovert?
In a sense na I do not easily make friends, siguro, yes, oo.
Kasi
My circle of friends are very small dahil yun nga medyo hirap ako makipagkaibigan, mag-reach out. It's really a challenge, especially na because of my work as a politician.
Yeah.
So it's a everyday challenge for me. Na ganun yung personality ko, and yet the demands of my work is quite the opposite.
Pero yun na nga, as a mayor, right? Kasi iba yung as Sara Duterte na you do have stage fright and then you balance this like this. Pero as a mayor, parang you're expected to like interact with people a lot. I think more than any politicians, right? Na kasi you are in the city, yan yung parang the highest government official na accessible sa mga citizens. So how do you manage that? That you interact with people every day? And parang naisip ko na parang napakahirap for you.
Mahirap talaga. And yes, kung makikita niyo yung the way I am in 2007 and the way I am ngayon, 2020, malaki na rin yung nagawa ko to improve that part of me na mag-adjust ako. Kailangan ko mag-adjust para sa trabaho ko.
Okay. I want to know about your decision-making process. Kasi, it's the decision-making is at the heart of the work of every politician, right? Especially those who are in an administrative position like a mayor. So can you walk us through your decision-making process? What factors or aspects do you consider before you make a decision?
Okay, number one, I usually go back to the law, check what the law is all about.
The lawyer, right? The lawyer.
Yeah, what the law is on a specific issue or challenge or problem, and then I check studies, mga best practices, benchmarking, and previous studies on that matter, and then I ask around, especially those who are experts on the topic. I ask them what they think, anong opinion nila, anong sa tingin nila, and based on their expertise, anong dapat gawin, and then I make a decision.
So does it take a while before you make a decision? Or depends on what kind of decision?
It really depends on what the issue is. Yes.
Okay. So do you have like a general idea na if an issue is like this, then I don't need to take so much time about this issue, but if an issue is something like something else, then you need to take a while before you make a decision. So
usually when it is about local governance and the law, mabilis na ako. I only just parang seek out the opinion of the city legal officer. Siya na lang ang tinatanong ko. But when it is something outside of local governance or the law, I usually consult many other department heads or heads of offices or even consultants.
Do you consider yourself as a decisive person?
Yes. Oo.
Okay. So, ano yan? Pag you made a decision, parang, yan na yan.
Well, yes. Well, ang decisions ko naman hindi ko naman pinipilit kung ano yung gusto ko. Yung decisions ko usually are based on, yun na nga sinabi ko, mga consultations, looking at other studies, what is the law about it. So, pag yun na ang napag-usapan na gagawin, of course, by sheer grit and determination, pinipilit ko talaga na yan yung susundin.
Do you consider the opinion of devil's advocates? Or gusto mo lang yung mga pare-pareho yung opinion? When you consult people?
Of course, when you consult a lot of people in decision making, meron talaga iba't ibang opinion. So nakasali na yon. And usually I do that so that merong iba't ibang look or iba't ibang perspective na nakukuha with regard to that issue or that thing that needs decision making.
So do you have like a designated devil's advocate? Yung mga tipo, ano mo nga ito? Ano mo nga itong decision na ito? Kontrahin mo nga, tingnan mo. Or,
well, meron kaming mga ganyan na mga heads of offices, yes, oo, na kapag medyo alanganin, the city administrator would say na, you run this by this person, kasi baka isang side lang yung nakikita natin and he might see another side to this.
So you entertain like opposition to your ideas or maybe initial decisions?
Yes, opo. Oo.
Okay, so do you actually incorporate their suggestions?
May
plans.
Yes.
Pero what's your kasi di ba every politicians follow certain political ideologies and that actually informs their decision making, right? Some are some are more conservative, some are more liberal, some are more social democrat. Do you have a specific ideology, political ideology that you follow, or do you consider each ideology and try to find some balance?
Wala with me. Wala akong ganyan. I only go back to the local government code.
Okay.
Because yan naman kasi talaga yung trabaho ko, chief executive of a local government unit. So we always start with the local government code and move on to other decision making process.
Yeah. Pero meron ka bang mga value commitments at least when you make a decision na parang okay, these certain values should always be factored in any decision that I make?
Yes, oo. And it's still based on the general welfare clause. It's still based on the law and it's the general welfare clause. And basically, the Bill of Rights na ka-enshrine sa ating constitution. So, usually, it's still based on kung ano yung batas.
So, more focus ka sa general welfare ng mga
tao?
So, how do you determine general welfare?
The welfare of the majority. Kasi lagi naman kasi talaga yan na ang isang decision is not for everyone. So meron talagang maaapektuhan or meron talagang hindi in favor of the the decision. So we always go back to the general welfare clause, and that is the welfare of the majority.
Pero kayo sinabi nyo na nga, di ba, na you always have to consider the majority. Syempre may minority. So paano yan na when you make a decision that you know that some people wouldn't like it or wouldn't be able or would not benefit from the decision, how do you handle that, that situation? How did you feel?
Those are the things na hard decisions na kasalin na sa trabaho ng isang local chief executive, particularly ng mayor. So, I do not know with others how they deal with it. Pero sa akin, sinasali ko na lang talaga yan na sa trabaho ko, there are really hard decisions to make, and not everybody will be happy with your decisions as a local chief executive, especially that madaming magagaling na mga individuals out there.
Now, talking about hard decisions, every politician or every leader has what we call turning point or pivotal moment in their political careers. What do you think is your defining moment as a mayor?
Yes, ang defining moment ko is not a positive experience for me, no? Because every day I still cringe when I remember that event, and then hanggang ngayon nandiyan pa rin yung embarrassment, and nafe-feel ko yung hiya doon sa humiliation that na nangyari sa akin, sa sheriff, sa judge, and sa Davao City at that time. So yung the incident with the sheriff noong July 1, 2011.
So yun yung defining moment mo as a politician. Why do you consider it as your defining moment?
Because doon ko natutunan yung never lose your self sa mga bagay na kailangan mong gawin. Kasi sa incident na yon, ang natalo is ako, yung judge, yung sheriff, yung Davao City, because it was played out publicly, and parang feeling ko napahiya lahat, ganyan. So, dapat, doon ko na-realize na in my work, you should be always in control of your emotions. Na hindi mo siya dapat ilapat doon sa trabaho na kailangan mong gawin.
Napakano na ito, ha? This is quite revelatory kasi parang for a lot of people, that is something that they like about you, yung narapak ka ng sheriff. But for you, you consider it like a learning experience. Yeah. You feel ashamed about it. You still cringe about it. Pero how did it make you? Kasi a lot of politicians, when I ask this question, they always say about a decision that they have made. Na parang it led to some dramatic turn of events, etc. But for you, it's your interaction with that sheriff during the time. Diba demolition yung yeah. What was on your mind? Can you walk us through what was on your mind when that happened?
Actually, hindi ko na siya maalala. It took me a long time to watch yung video, yung news clips noon.
Okay.
And I think dahil nga siguro sa galit ko, nag-blackout ako. Nahimasmasan na lang ako when I was talking to him, and then nakikita ko na he was injured. So parang naisip ko na, ano ba nangyayari? Bakit nagkaganito kami? Parang ganyan. So, I had to tell my staff to take him to the hospital kasi he was injured. So yun yun. That taught me na, and then after that, kasama ko yung mama ko. And then she was asking me, what happened to you? Sabi ko, hindi ko rin alam, mama, what happened. Kasi nga, it was not only the demolition incident, there was an incident before that is yung flooding, which killed 30 individuals. So parang nagpatong-patong siya lahat on that week for me and my work. And then, yun na nga, parang I lost it and it was very embarrassing and it should not happen again. Sabi ng mama ko that time, sabi niya, alam mo, not all people are like you. Mm-hmm. So, hindi ka naman nila maiintindihan ka agad. Kasi if you are fast, not all people are very fast. So, you have to make an effort to make them understand your work and what you need to do.
So parang nakikita ko dito, Mayor Sarah, na you are not uncomfortable with dealing with your mistakes. Is this part of your personality na or your leadership style na you don't shy away from admitting mistakes?
I usually say sorry when it is appropriate to say sorry. So, wala akong problema in making mistakes because obviously, I am not a perfect leader.
Ayun na nga, I'm really quite shocked na yun talaga yung incident, yun talaga yung isasagot niya dito sa tanong na to. Kasi I was even thinking kung, should I ask about, Mayor Sarah punching a sheriff when you were still a vice mayor at that time or mayor na po kayo?
Mayor na ako noon.
Mayor na.
First term as mayor, yes.
So, parang, I was like expecting yung mga sinasabi ng mga Davaoer niya na, na you kind of straighten out the bureaucracy. Parang yun yung ina-expect ko na isasagot ninyo about your defining moment as a politician. And then suddenly, you mentioned this mistake. So it's like kind of unexpected. So, yeah, I'm quite shocked right now. Mag-recover pa ako.
Yun yung parang naisip ko na you shouldn't be that kind of a leader. Yun din ng learnings ko doon with what people advised me after that.
Okay, so compromise. Pumunta na ngayon tayo sa mga nitty-gritty ng decision making. Like for example, compromising, right? Every leader must know when she or he should compromise. What for you would be the factors that you would consider before you make a compromise and before you don't make a compromise, right? When do you become tough in your initial positions, and when do you soften up?
Okay, sige. For me, I firmly believe that a leader should not compromise.
Okay.
Because magiging inconsistent ka and then you will lose your way. Kasi all things are paulit-ulit lang naman yung mga bagay sa local governance eh. So, hindi ka pwede mag-compromise on one and in the same situation, iba na naman yung decision mo. So, it has to be consistent. So, when you compromise, nawawala yung consistency mo, naku-confuse ang mga tao and nagiging inconsistent yung leadership mo. Pero if we are to talk na kailangan talaga mag-compromise, you can para sa akin, you can compromise when it is for the general welfare, and you should never compromise when it will cause injustice.
Okay. So, meron ka talagang So there are just certain situations that you think that you may be able to compromise, right?
Yes, oo. Kung sabihin natin na kailangan talaga mag-compromise, yes, you can compromise for the general welfare if it will mean that it will be for the good of the majority.
Okay. So yun yung
However,
na kailangan
yes, oo. However, kung mag-compromise ka and then it will cause injustice, even to just one sector or one group, I do not think na dapat mag-compromise.
So for you, you value consistency.
Yes, for a leader, dapat consistent ka talaga. So that people will believe you. Otherwise, if you compromise for the same set of facts, you compromise on the other, and you do not compromise on the other situation, and then pareho lang din naman sila, sasabihin nila na hindi na impartial ang decision making mo. So sasabihin na ng mga tao na biased ka na meron ka ng favoritism, mga ganon. So dapat kasi consistent talaga. Nakikita ng mga tao na like say for example, kaibigan, there's one thing na kaibigan mo yan or hindi mo kaibigan yan, the law should be applied the same to both. Ganon.
Because mayor kasi kayo ngayon, so I'm thinking na since your father is the president, and I think how that his job as a president, and I think you're already exposed to what he's doing. So what do you think is the difference between your being a mayor and being a president? Kasi your father tried to compare the two before. Nasabi niya na parang president is simply like a mayor of an entire country. But do you see any difference between the two based on your experience as a presidential daughter na na-expose sa trabaho na ng daddy niyo? Is it harder to compromise when you are a president than being a mayor? Kasi nga 'di ba mas maliit yung constituency ninyo, or do you think it's easier
to be president? Definitely hindi. No. Definitely not.
Kaya nga di ba ayaw patakbuhin yung tatay yun?
Definitely not. Oo, hindi madali maging president. Kung sa trabaho naman, it's the same. It's an executive. So, you handle different offices. Mas malaki nga lang yung magnitude ng president because you handle offices, commissions, agencies, ang dami instrumentalities of government, and they're all under you, particularly yung nasa executive department, no? And then you have to deal with the two other branches of government, the legislative and the justice, no? So, mas malaki yung magnitude ng trabaho ng president. And it needs lakas ng loob